webinar marketing for financial advisors. What's that all about? So let's put it into a little bit of context as to where I'm coming from and what I've learned about financial advisors and how they promote themselves over the years. Now, I first got into this industry in 1978, so I have met literally tens of thousands of financial advisors over that time. And as I went around my work, and I used to be an inspector, a broker consultant for various life companies, I used to talk to financial advisors, and the one question that came up time and time again was, how do I attract new clients? What's the best way to do it? Should I buy leads? And this one, it still comes up today. Over 40 years later, in online groups of financial advisors, how do I attract quality clients and how do I add value to my existing clients? This is the number one question time and time again. So before we just investigate that, let's just have a little bit a closer look at what's actually been going on in 2020 in terms of how financial advisors have been communicating and adding value to clients. The first thing I discovered fairly shortly after lockdown was that financial advisors fell into one of two camps. They either did nothing or they were really quick to communicate with clients. The market took a bit of a dive, and a lot of financial advisors just kind of did the right thing, was just to get on the phone or send an email to clients and saying, are you okay? We're here for you if you've got any questions. And what was really interesting, the feedback I've had from financial advisors is that most clients, whilst the market was going that way fast, they knew it was going that way. They knew their financial advisor could do nothing about it, but they welcomed the human interaction. And that was an extremely valuable thing. And the financial advisors who did that early communication, that quick communication, they will be remembered by their clients. The ones that didn't communicate with their clients, they will be forgotten. This was more about a human thing than anything else. I think it's something else that's really important to remember is, and it's been going on for years and years with financial advisors, as an industry, as a profession, we've not been great at the level of communication that we have with clients. An occasional email newsletter really doesn't add any value these days. So we've got to really think beyond what we're doing now and think, how can we really add value to clients, particularly in these difficult times. Something else I've noticed is that the more creative we can be in our communications, the better. We are quite limited now about how we can communicate with clients. The days where we could put on a seminar or a local client event or a client appreciation event, we can't do those anymore. We can't go to networking events anymore. So it's basically going to be online. So we need to think of different ways that we can use online. And Jez, you're going to talk about the skills that we need to actually communicate effectively with people. And I want to give you one example. Here's Elaine, she's a financial advisor, and one of the things she started doing, and she was really nervous about doing it initially, was doing video newsletters to clients. And she'd never done it before. She posted on LinkedIn recently, this is something she started to do. She said she was really nervous about doing it. She had no presentation skills training, but she thought, I've got to be different. I've got to stand out from the crowd. I've got to differentiate myself. So let's do video email newsletters. Something else she started doing now as well is a video out of office email as well, which I think is really creative. We've all sent our out of office emails and they all say the same thing. Sorry, we're not here at the moment. Check out our website. Well, she's done that on video. As lockdown eased, she loves golf. She got out onto the golf course and she set up her mobile phone on the green and putted the ball straight towards the camera. She said, as you can see, I'm taking a few days out. Sorry, I can't take your call personally. And what was really interesting was the response from her clients. She had messages directly from clients saying, oh, it's lovely to see you in this new format. This is new. This is a great idea, a welcome surprise. So quite often these things that we think might be difficult, might be a bit technical, they are actually quite easy to do. We just got to put that toe in the water and make it happen. So what else has 2020 taught us? Well, it turns out that electronic financial advice works just fine. Over many, many years, financial advisors said, oh no, it can't be done. There's no way that we can give online financial advice, but we've been forced to do this. Turns out clients love it. And many clients love it so much. They love the convenience of it as well. It's really easy to do. Everybody's learned how to use Zoom. Everyone's learning how to use Skype or Teams. And so it's becoming very much the norm now. And clients are experiencing financial advisors' expertise and services in new ways. And because they're experiencing it in new ways, they'll make those recommendations and referrals to their friends and so on and so forth. So it's worth trying out new ideas. Just give it a go, practice on some of your friends and see where that goes. What else has 2020 taught us? Well, we've got to be a bit more strategic about how we use this online stuff. The idea that we could just put out a couple of tweets and hope that someone might get in touch, forget it, it's not going to work. A couple of videos on YouTube. We've got to get into this and get much more strategic about it. And something else that's really, really important is to remember that there is a difference between social networking and social media. You know, back in the day, before Twitter, before Facebook, perhaps the early days of LinkedIn, the words social media weren't really known, certainly amongst the financial advice community, but it was known as social networking. And there's a clue in the title. Social media, for the most part, is about broadcasting noise. Social networking is interacting, engaging with human beings at a human level over a cup of coffee. So this really, when you get this into your head, you begin to realize that communication with human beings, yes, using social media platforms, is what it's all about. It's not just about chucking noise out there in the hope that someone will notice you. I noticed a few other financial advisors, once they started getting into doing online advice, online events, short, simple little webinars, educational pieces, they noticed, they found for the very first time that they put on their website, I'm now offering this online service. And one lady financial advisor told me that she added to her LinkedIn profile just one extra line that said, now offering online financial advice. Join us for our weekly online client event. She said within about 24 hours of putting that one line on her LinkedIn profile, she picked up 3 or 4 new clients who didn't know that she actually did this. So really simple, don't assume that your clients know you offer online services. Actually go out of your way and tell them.
And Phil, could I just ask a question there actually? You just said a couple of very interesting things about this assumption. Do you feel that this is something that actually that we as an industry are projecting onto clients, that they won't want this kind of interaction, they won't want to do things online? Or are advisors actually finding that some clients are a bit reticent about this technology? What do you think is the main barrier here to more advisors getting involved in doing more and more online?
Yes, that's a really good question. I think the vast majority of financial advisors, and I know that's a broad brush statement, but the vast majority, that we've taken this assumption that financial advice can only ever be done between consenting adults, either in the client's home or in our offices, and that there are actually other ways to do it. Yes, there are still many financial advisors say, no, it can only ever be done face to face. Well, I would question that one, and what's been interesting, what I've noticed, is that where financial advisors have said to their clients, look, we can do this online, we can do this by Skype, FaceTime, if you like, they go, oh, fantastic, because there are people out there who really don't want to go and see a financial advisor. They can think of nothing worse, but they know they need the help and they need the expertise. But when they discover, often for the first time, that this can be done online at their convenience, happy days, everybody wins. So the silver lining for many financial advisors is that more clients are stepping forward and more referrals are being made because they're offering this other service. Okay, so what else? What about wider marketing? I think we've got to start thinking again, or thinking in more detail about how we actually communicate our value and expertise to clients. Now, a lot of marketing people would have you believe that this is what it's all about, that we've got to constantly be pushing content out onto the internet. We've got to have a YouTube channel, we've got to have a podcast, we've got to have our own group on Facebook. This is great if your target clients inhabit this world out there. And to be quite frank, this is just unsustainable over the long term. When it comes down to it, if we know our clients, and we should know our clients, we will know where they hang out online. Equally, we will know their sort of socio-economic group, we will know their demographics. And if we take the trouble to actually ask our clients, how would you like to be communicated? Then marketing becomes so much simpler. But we are where we are and we need to get some focus. Now, I'm a collector of real old school marketing. I just love old fashioned marketing. And if we go back to 2002, This is how Bic razors were promoting Bic razors. And this was a legendary marketing campaign at the time where they created a giant billboard in the middle of a field by the side of a road and a giant razor, and as you can see, the razor has cut the grass. Now, this was great, went down in sort of marketing folklore in terms of its creativity. One problem though, if you didn't see this, you didn't know it existed. If you didn't have to drive past this, you didn't know it existed. And you wouldn't have known it existed unless you read the right marketing magazines. So I love this creativity, but it needed to be, if we were doing it again today, we would bring it up to date today, and we'd put something like this. We'd put social media logos on there, and Bic would be encouraging us to do their marketing for them. And let me show you another one. A few years ago, again back in 2002, my wife and I sold our house. We were moving house, and we did a tour of the local estate agents, and they all promised us amazing service. And one thing I did notice is they all said the same thing. They all looked the same. Their offices all looked the same. And it was really difficult to differentiate between one estate agent and another. But we needed to choose. But the following day, after we'd been around the local estate agents, a letter arrived in the post. And I opened it. I was really quite interested what might be inside. And inside was a piece of red carpet. That's it, a piece of red carpet. But it was what was written on the back that really interested me. And it says, all our clients receive the same treatment, red carpet treatment. And I thought, how simple is that as a great piece of marketing? Simple, very, very effective, and certainly got my attention. So where I'm going with this is, at the end of the day, marketing can be remarkably simple when we apply just a little bit of creativity. And any financial advisor could use a simple idea like that. Today, we can bring marketing kicking and screaming up today, and I love this piece of creativity that I saw only a couple of days ago. An advert for braces with the person wearing a mask over their face as well. So let's look at a little bit closer, get a bit more detail now. And I want to talk to you about the three most effective forms of marketing for financial advisors. The most popular form of marketing for financial advisors is referrals, and those financial advisors who are starting to do online events are reporting that they are getting more referrals coming through, and I think that's so important. So referrals, very, very effective, although I would add one caveat to that I think we're getting a bit over-reliant on referrals these days, to be quite honest, because if you were to recommend a financial advisor to me, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next day I'm going to go and phone them up. Before I do that, I'm going to literally go on Google, check them out. What do they look like? Does their website look nice? I look for simple things. Do they look good? Do they look trustworthy? And then I'm going to find in my Google search results, I'm going to find other financial advisors. So I might get distracted. I might not actually take up your recommendation. So referrals are great, but with a word of caution. Now, potentially the most effective form of marketing and lead generation for financial advisors is their website. But the overwhelming majority of financial advisors' websites are simply ineffective. Yes, you are getting visitors to your website, but no, for the most part, you are not converting them into proper inquiries. And I'm just going to pick that up later on as to simple tweaks that you could do. But your website is already getting visitors. You just don't know that, and you're not converting them. So we need to think about that one. And number three, well, as I mentioned earlier, the single most effective form of lead generation for financial advisors is seminars. Always has been, always will be, whether it's done online or in person. Of course, right now, we can't do them in person, but if you were thinking about doing some seminars for next year, maybe you want to start planning them right now, because it's hard work. So I'm going to mention one other, though, that is incredibly powerful as a lead generation tool, and that is LinkedIn, another online environment. But we're not here to talk about LinkedIn. So one more piece of marketing greatness that I've spotted and how we can use it to engage with clients. Now, a couple of months ago, my mother sent me this in the post. And it is a little red book from Gordon's Gin. Tanqueray Gordon, to be precise. And during lockdown, I thought, oh, this is absolutely fascinating. She said, this was your dad's. He had it in his bedside drawer. for the entire time that they were married. So decades and decades. She said she never saw him open it. She doesn't know where he got it from, but he treasured it, and she's passed it on to me. Now, being a lover of a gin and tonic, I was delighted with this, and I got straight on to the Diageo archivists who own Gordon's now, and I said, can you tell me anything about this? And I got a wonderful email back from the archivist saying, wow, we haven't seen one of those for a while. He said, what you've got there is a marketing piece from Tanqueray Gordon's. It is 100 years old. Now, let me show you inside this little book as well. They created this as a tool to attract new people to buy Gordon's gin. But it was also doubling up as a tool to add value to existing lovers of Gordon gin. So it's an educational piece first and foremost. But it was, they absolutely were so proud of this as a marketing tool when it came out. So the idea was to attract new customers, but at the same time to add value to existing customers. And I'm going to pursue that in a minute. Whatever type of marketing you do, it takes you onto your value ladder, the process which guides customers into your world. And by value ladder, what do I mean? If we look at the value ladder for a dentist, typically a lot of dentists will offer free teeth cleaning, free teeth whitening, just to get you in the building, yeah? And they'll get nice video testimonials, and they can use those. And once you get to know, you get to like, you get to trust you, it's much more likely that you're going to go on and pay for the real pricey stuff like cosmetic dentistry. The value ladder for a chiropractor, broadly similar. Free stuff to get you in the building, get you used to them. But what they really want you to do is to get to the point where you like them enough that you're going to pay a monthly subscription to a wellness retreat. Value ladder for a gym, well, the value ladder for a gym starts on January the 1st every single year. They offer you freebies, they get you in, get you to like the place, because that makes it much more likely that you will pay for higher value services. In terms of my value ladder for financial advisors, it looks a bit like this. To get you into my world, I will go free stuff, a free Facebook group, a free ebook, a scorecard, I'll tell you about scorecards later, a webinar, a book, I've got some of my books, and various things that we go up. Now, the things in green on that list are free. The things in blue are either free or I might charge for them. The things in black I will always charge for, and the things in red are reassuringly very expensive. So what about the value ladder for a financial advisor? Typically, most financial advisors don't actually have a value ladder. Sometimes it's quite a transactional thing. Maybe somebody wants a mortgage, we go through the process, we arrange the mortgage, everybody's happy. Maybe you're doing a bit of financial planning. You know, we're expecting people to come into our world having never met us before and to buy our highest value service straight away. Yet there are various things that a financial advisor could actually offer on that client's journey, varying from a free tips book, a free e-guide, but also webinars. Webinars are absolutely fantastic tools on a financial advisor's value ladder. They can be free, you could do a one-off one, they could be every week, every month, whatever suits you. But what you could also do is provide a chargeable webinar as well, thus giving you as a financial advisor an additional income stream. Some financial advisors watching this, they may know Martin Bamford. He's quite well known in the financial advice world, and he's written 3 books. Look, here are his 3 books. And whilst he makes a bit of money out of these are very much part of his value ladder. He says quite a lot of clients, when they first come to him, say, oh, Martin, I bought your book 10 years ago, and I've only just got around to getting in touch with you. But what we're doing here is we're taking elements of our expertise and our experience and turning them into products and services that will help people come into our world, and webinars are one of those. Catherine Morgan, she's a rising star in the financial advice world, and she has a very clear value ladder. She offers these 5-day challenges on Facebook just to get you into her world, so that makes it much more likely that you'll want to work with her on a longer term basis. Many of you will know Pete Matthew. Pete has his own YouTube channel. He's been doing it for over 10 years now, and that's evolved into what's now known as the Meaningful Money podcast. He has millions of people downloading his podcast, millions and millions. And he says to me, it is a lead generating monster. I can pick and choose the clients I want to work with because I am sharing my value freely through a podcast, through a YouTube channel, and people really pick up on that. So his podcast is very much part of Pete's Value Ladder. And he's also got ebooks as well. He's got an online community as well, a Facebook group, which is basically full of fans talking about money. He's got a book as well, and he's got some online courses as well. So that's very much what a value ladder is all about, and he demonstrates different tools that he uses. Now, it strikes me that more and more financial advisors could be doing this. We are only limited by our own imaginations as to how we use our expertise and experience. And I know you guys, meeting financial advisors around the UK, you know, there's a lot of people with some great ideas, great skills, but they're more often than not actually using that as well as they could be. Great skills that they could be using. And the problem with most financial advisor marketing, it's just random, unpredictable results, unscalable, pretty ineffective, and that just creates stress. And that's why the number one topic of conversation amongst financial advisors is still, how do I generate new leads? Pretty stressful. So wouldn't it be better if we could make it less random, much more effective, and get predictable results that give us confidence to pick and choose the clients that we really want to work with? Now, I've done some research along with a guy called Michael Kitces in the States as to what type of marketing is actually effective for financial advisors. Now, for top performing advisors or advisors that have been around for a while, what you see here is the list that actually works time and time again. Yes, referrals at the top of the list. Book writing, yeah? Seminars, webinars, client events, web listings, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. Now, for financial advisors that are either new or just getting started, it's a slightly different list. But again, referrals, introducers, and look at number 5 there, seminars, webinars, and client events. The problem with seminars and webinars in the minds of most financial advisors is this is going to be hard work, isn't it? How do I get bums on seats? How do I get people to turn up for the Zoom presentation? Trust me when I tell you that's just a process. And I'm going to explore some of this as we go forward. So clearly, whether you're an experienced advisor, things are going well, or whether you're fairly new to the game, seminars and webinars are where the real action is. Now, I've put together a kind of chart here that looks at the characteristics of these different types of marketing. In an ideal world, wouldn't it be great if we could get marketing that was low cost, simple, got predictable results, was scalable, and seriously effective? There are a few things that tick those boxes. In an ideal world, we want them to be in the low cost, the predictable, and the effective box. Now, if we actually put these up, and you might want to pause the video at this point just to have a look at this, but you'll see that not all of them tick every single one of those boxes. Some are scalable, but they're pretty expensive. Some are ineffective, but they're not particularly low cost. So it's worth looking at. So the things that we're really looking at are things that are low cost, predictable, and effective. And if you look at that bottom line there, the only one that ticks all the boxes is webinars. What have we got in common? What do you think we've got in common between seminars, books, and webinars? It is that they are educational. Just like my little red book from Tanqueray Gordon, it educates whilst it attracts new clients.